So emotional eating and body image issues, they go hand in hand. So let's dive in a bit deeper. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to talk a bit more about body image issues and emotional eating and how they're interconnected and how we need to sort of break this vicious cycle. So body image issues tend to trigger emotional eating triggers body image issues, and they're in this cycle and they're very connected. And so in order to break the cycle, we really have to get to the root of this pattern, which is going to lie in our emotional eating pattern. And so, this is a pattern I see with women who struggle with emotional eating. It's the same pattern that I had. These body image issues, they tend to pop up and be a really integral part of this pattern. We're shaming ourselves for the way our body looks, and that can trigger emotional eating, and feeling out of control with our body triggers more body shame, and we're in this cycle, and we need to get out of this loop. So when I was struggling with emotional eating, I was really struggling with it because part of the reason I wanted to control my body, I wanted it to look a certain way. And, with the restriction and diets, that was the way to combat that in order to get this certain type of body that I thought if I finally looked a certain way, I would feel seen and validated, accepted and loved and get that attention that I was craving. And that was a big motivation for me. And when I finally hit that goal, I reached sort of that pinnacle, it was very fleeting. The external validation didn't fill the void that I felt. And so I knew I needed to do something different and I needed to figure this out. And I see the same thing with a lot of clients. Sometimes they reach their goal and they thought it would finally fix them. They'd finally feel okay. And it actually is very empty. And they spiral back into their emotional eating patterns. And so why is this happening? Well, if you're trying to feel good from the way you look or to fill yourself up this deep hole and void that you have, it's not going to ever do that. We have to really get into the roots of this pattern because that deep shame and not feeling accepted or loved, so we have to fill that from the inside. And it doesn't mean we don't need external validation or compliments or anything like that, but if we're only relying on that without doing the deeper work, it's going to fall flat. We're not going to be able to absorb it or take it in. And so the reason we spiral back into our old patterns of emotional eating is that when we reach this goal and the external validation doesn't fill that hole, we're still in deep shame and non-acceptance of ourselves. And so we spiral. It's like, what's the point of even doing this or trying? We really see what we were chasing. And so just to share with you, sometimes clients, on the surface consciously, they want to lose weight so that they have better health. But the deeper program that's running, it subconsciously is that they need to look a certain way. And doesn't matter how much they work out or whatever it is they're doing in the name of health, it doesn't help them shift their body because they're still in this deep shame about their body. And so they're still going to be emotionally eating. They haven't dealt with this deeper core issues. And so in order to really resolve your emotional eating and to stop being triggered by body shame, we need to move into body acceptance. And so whenever I talk about body acceptance, I always get comments like, so I can't just accept myself. I'll accept myself when I'm at a certain size, or I can't just accept myself. That doesn't make sense. And because we think accepting ourselves means that we can't change or that we're okay with where we're at and we've given up, we've thrown everything out the window. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Acceptance really boils down to you don't even have to like or love yourself. It's coming into a neutral position with your body in the sense of it just is. This means you stop that critical internal voice punishing yourself or shaming yourself, and you drop into acceptance because the body you're in today is a result of the actions you've taken. And a lot of those actions when we're emotional eaters are not very helpful to our body. we're restricting, we're yo-yo dieting, we're being overly critical of ourselves, we're not putting the best foods into our body. We have this coping mechanism that doesn't help us. And this is the result of all of those actions. And yes, when you do a diet or you do something and you get those quick results, it seems like it's working, but it can only work for a short amount of time. It's not sustainable. It actually does more damage to your body that takes longer to get it off. And so you keep, in a way, abusing your body because you're not really tuned into the true needs of your body. You don't accept your body and what it needs because you think you have to push and punish yourself on some level to get to this certain body. And I say that the deeper reason that we can't get to body acceptance or maybe keep the weight off around, or we're always chasing how do we keep the weight off, is that we think we have to micromanage ourselves. Our body wants to be at its healthy weight, its healthy mood and vibrancy. And if we are listening to our body, we're able to understand it, tune into its rhythms, remove any of the trauma we have around our body, or feeling we have to look a certain way to be accepted. When we remove all of that and we actually connect back to our body, and have this healthy relationship, it's going to shift. And it's going to get to its healthy. And I don't want it to sound like this is just up in the air. When we are critical and shaming of ourselves, we put ourselves into a stress response, into fight or flight. And physiologically, that means our body is going to have more digestive issues, mood issues. It's going to hold on to weight. It's going to not be in a mode for health because it's in survival mode. And when we move into acceptance and we start understanding our body and meeting its true needs, this is where the body is now in a rest and digest state. It's going to actually optimize our digestion, our mood, release weight it no longer needs, boost immunity. And this is going to give us the results we want. So you don't have to feel like you have to micromanage yourself. Yes, there are tangible steps, but it's really understanding you and trusting your body, getting back to that place of body acceptance and learning to trust your body. Because when we have this emotional eating pattern, it's hard to trust ourselves because we weren't modeled how to really listen to ourselves, to process emotions, to understand ourselves. We weren't taught these things. We weren't modeled this by our parents or caregivers. And almost in our society, if you look around, our body's cues are sort of dismissed. When we're in school, we have to eat at a certain time. We have to go against our body. So how can we trust it? We have to build that up, and we think we have to control it. And it's not really about controlling it. It's understanding it and meeting your needs. And that's what's going to shift this. When you start meeting your needs and dealing with not only understanding your body in terms of what rituals and rhythms it needs, that can be having a really great nighttime ritual. It can be understanding your energy and your cycles throughout the month. Maybe you need to eat more at a certain time of month than others, or depending on your routine or your schedule. It's also looking at the deeper work that maybe you were shamed for your body, you were criticized by others, and you need to do that deeper work of really processing and integrating what happened and resolving it at the root so you can move forward powerfully in a new way and meet your true needs, your true emotional needs, if you have boundaries, anything like that. And that's going to really pull apart that body shame. And you're going to really see yourself clearly because there's all of these layers on top of you. And when you get to that place of body acceptance, that is where those triggers to emotional eating fall away because you're no longer in shame about your body. This is one area, one key area you want to look at, especially if you don't want to look at your body, you're very critical. There are other areas we need to look at. Your relationship to food ties into this. And of course, your relationship to your emotions, which can be those underlying factors because our emotions live in our body. So it's all connected to our body. So when we get to this place, this helps us to resolve our emotional eating. It's not going to be everything. It's part of the process. And so what I've noticed with clients, it's almost when we get into the root and we resolve it, there's a deep acceptance of yourself beyond your body. What we tend to do is tie our self-worth to our body, and we want to know that we are worthy and we have a body and we are honoring it, and we move forward from there. So this is something we do inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program. It is one piece of the puzzle, along with true nourishment and emotional wellness, to help you resolve your emotional eating from the root in a sustainable way. We need to have this process, a step-by-step process, because emotional eating is multi-layered. It's not a magic bullet. It's not a one-off thing. It is a process. And so in the program, the 12-week container, where you get guidance, you get weekly coaching, you get the step-by-step methodology and deeper tools to really move through the blocks holding you back from resolving this pattern, so that you can finally get to that ease and confidence around food and in your body that you are looking for. So if you're curious about the program, I'll put the link below, but as a first step, I always recommend you start learning to discern true from emotional hunger. I have a free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? And this will help you get in touch with your body, noticing and really learning to discern what does true hunger look like in the body versus emotional hunger. And this is going to help you build that trust with yourself and also catch triggers that are triggering you into this pattern. So I'll put the link for that below. So if you have any questions about what I've shared with you today, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.